Welcome to the Ghost Show online, my fiends, booze, and ghouls. Your hosts, Seika Groves, Rachel Benter, and Ian Russell will discuss all things paranormal. Prepare to be afraid.
We're going to talk about the Tuckett Mansion, or the Scottish Rites building in Hamilton. So we both know this location pretty well. I guess, Ian, have you actually done an investigation in there?
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the ghostly things that happen in there, because I've had some stuff happen to me in that building.
Yeah.
And and not even there because I was there doing an investigation. I was just there for other reasons, and still had interesting things, make themselves known. So you and Trudy did an investigation there.
Yeah.
Right. So what were your results from that? What did you find?
Okay, well, I'm going to take you through as the investigation happened, sort of in chronological order through the various parts of the building.
Okay.
This was done through our friends at the Ghost Walks, that over the last couple of years, they had a ghost walk tour through that building. And when they were researching the information, getting the ghost stories and everything to get the tour walk set up, there was an investigation night that was scheduled. And as I say, Trudy and I were fortunate enough to have been invited as the scientific paranormal investigators, along with a team of psychics for the spiritual side of things. And we had free run of the building, mostly. Certain parts under the supervision of the Freemasons who were there at the time, just to police and monitor that we didn't go where we were told not to go. And so anyways, let's start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in there, there's a portrait of a woman wearing a white dress that's up on the landing of the beautiful main staircase that goes up. There's a landing, and then there's more stairs that go up to the second floor. And it's bizarre because I've been in that building several times. The first time with the investigation, and then I was in a couple of times to actually take the tour myself of the ghost walks. And every single time that I have attempted to photograph that portrait, my camera malfunctions. And I'm not the only person to have said this. I've said this before, and I've gotten responses from people saying, yeah, the same thing has happened to me. I cannot take a picture of this portrait. And yeah, to this day, I have never been able to successfully take a picture, a photograph of this painting that hangs on the wall. And who is this woman? We're not entirely sure. I don't know if you have any information on that. But there's a story that George Tuckett had a a lady friend, shall we say,
Mhm.
after his wife passed away, and she lived across the street somewhere. And it's rumored. I've heard that this portrait is of her. I've heard it maybe, Mrs. Tuckett. Nobody seems to know. But have you got any information on that?
Interestingly enough, yeah, I mean, I've been in there enough times, and it is kind of a strange thing because people say they're not really sure who the portrait is of. I heard a couple of different stories. I actually heard that it was Tuckett's daughter. At one point, it was on her graduation, so that portrait was done around the time of her graduation, and that kind of makes sense to me. That that would be an important part in a young lady's life. So she's about 18 or 19 when she sat for the portrait, and that's a possibility. The other possibility was that, yes, it was this lady friend, although I find that a little odd because there are no paintings of his wife anywhere on the property that we know of, right?
Right.
So it's sort of a strange thing. I feel like it's more his daughter, right? Because we know we have a story about his daughter with the bedroom and the whole, the painting of the bedroom and that. So he clearly was, went out of his way to spoil his daughter. And it doesn't seem to me that it's out of context, that it's a possibility this portrait is of his daughter. I think because the building hasn't really had a conservator or somebody actually go in there and take the painting down off the wall and take it apart to look for any markings. It could very well be handwritten on the back of the actual painting itself.
Could be. That's an interesting point. Yeah.
But after framing and all of that it's since been covered up. So at this point, I don't have any definitive answers to that. But of course, for me, I feel like the possibility it's his daughter makes sense more than it would of a lady friend, because there aren't any portraits of the wife hanging anywhere. And while it could be the wife, it seems a little odd because when you look at the clothing, the dress appears to be from about 1895. And I don't imagine that his wife was that young in 1895, right? So I feel that it's more of a young woman portrait in terms of the dress being off shoulder, those kinds of things with the actual painting, as opposed to a portrait that you would have of your wife painted, right? So it seems to me the daughter plays out more, but I wonder if anybody's ever asked if that painting can be removed from the wall and inspected a little further. I don't know. And I don't know if the Masons, it's property of the Masons at this point.
Right.
That perhaps, maybe I should ask one of my 33-degree Mason friends who actually go there, that, if they've got any idea what it is.
Yeah.
If it would be allowed. So that remains a mystery at this point, I suspect.
Okay, so continuing with that, as I say, when we went in, it was to start the whole process of getting the ghost walks through the facility set up.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, there was a visit by Daniel, and he brought in two psychics with him. And I've been told that one of the psychics went up to this portrait of the woman in white and started taunting the energy, which I disagree with. That's, in my opinion, that is not an acceptable form of paranormal investigation.
No.
And I guess this woman got everything so worked up, the energy, that the chandelier that hangs down around that main staircase violently started swinging back and forth. And I've actually seen the video that Daniel took of this chandelier.
Wow.
And it was amazing. So obviously this energy of this woman really got ticked off with the presentation of being harassed and all that. It was something to see.
I haven't seen that video, but I've heard of a few other stories about that. So I've heard a few things about that over the years, just in terms of the chandelier, and also some other happenings like that as well.
So continuing our paranormal investigation tour through the building, once we got up onto the second floor, it was very quiet on the second floor. And what we were allowed to do under the supervision of the mason who was there with us is that we were allowed to go up the next staircase to the third floor, which is normally off limits to anyone other than the masons. And we were allowed to take a look at the third floor, providing we never stepped off of the staircase onto the actual third floor.
Okay.
And which was fine, but I'll tell you, the feeling of heavy energy up on that floor. You went up there, stood on the staircase, and you could just feel the heaviness in the air. You could feel that you were being watched.
Okay.
It was something. It's, as I've always said, it's your body is the best paranormal tool you can have. You don't need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on all this equipment. Listen to the feelings of your body when you're in a location and you get goosebumps on your arm and your hair stands up and all that. So that was pretty cool. Now from there, it's more white.
Okay, keep talking. It's just me playing with the whiteboard.
Okay, so from there we go into the grand ballroom, and you were talking about weddings. Now this is fun. This is fun because there was a friend of mine, very good friend, one of my best friends, a couple years ago. She got married.
Okay.
At the Scottish Rite building. The marriage ceremony and the reception were all held in that ballroom. Now, previously from this investigation, knowing that the building is haunted, Trudy and I brought all of our equipment with us to the wedding. I have to admit, it's the only time that I have ever conducted a paranormal investigation at a wedding, because one, I knew that, my friend, knowing, what we do, and we're such good friends, she wouldn't care.
Right.
And she didn't. She didn't have a care in the world that we were doing this at her wedding.
At her wedding.
And also because it's a haunted building. So we brought all of our equipment with us. And after the dinner had concluded, and everybody was starting the dance and the stuff that goes along with that, we set up all of our equipment on our table as a nerve center, and we started investigating because, hey, I'm not going to pass up another opportunity to investigate this building. And I'll tell you, some of the looks we got from some of the people, it's like what on earth are these people doing? And and I was told that, one of them actually went over to my friend and said, these people have got this stuff set up on all over their table. And she says, oh yeah, they're just paranormal investigators. Just don't worry about it. But I'll tell you again, because of that building, and we spent the entire dance period investigating. Yeah, we did. And the first, couple hours, nothing. The last number of hours, nothing.
Wow.
But there was about 4 minutes in between our REM pod started screaming.
During nice.
Yeah, so
Hopefully the music was louder than the REM pod.
yeah, so we have no idea what energy set that off. Was it something that maybe somebody brought with them? Is it one of the energies from the building itself? We don't know. All I know is that for that 4 minute period, hell broke loose on our table. It's this was the jackpot of the entire investigation evening. As I say, there was a team of psychics that were involved with us. And this one woman, she was fine until she walked into that room. And she started coughing and choking and couldn't breathe.
Wow.
And yeah, she had to leave, go back downstairs, try to get some water. And then she was fine. Came back up, came into the cathedral area, same thing, started coughing, choking, couldn't breathe.
Wow.
So something in that room was affecting her.
I don't know if you can get a good video of that. Isn't it hard with the lights and stuff? Short. Yes, I'm short.
In the computer.
That lady that just left, apparently she's really affected in this room. She gets short of breath, can't breathe. That's why she's leaving again.
And there at the back of that room, I don't know if you remember, there is a gray door.
Okay, yes.
Right against the back wall that leads into another room, which this door has always been chained off, as I've always seen it. And the lead psychic in this group, apparently she had a dream or a vision, whatever you want to call it, prior to this investigation a few days before about this gray door.
Okay.
And she walked in and she went, "That's it. That's the door. That's the door that I was telling you about." And so she walked through the room, went up onto that stage area to go to the door. And oh boy, what happened is that she ended up as the first in my paranormal experience that I've had over the years I've been doing this. She was the first of 2 partial possessions I've seen take place. She walked up close to that door and just froze. And she said, "I can't move. I can't move." Now, real life partial possession is not like what you see in the movies.
No, it's not.
It's
I've
not
actually
like
had
The
that happen.
Exorcist where your head is going to spin around in circles and you're going to vomit pea soup across the room and you're going to spout Latin backwards. And no, it's like you just
Become that
walk up and you
person,
can't
actually.
move.
That's it's happened to me more than once. So
Yeah. It's happened to me. Not a full partial, but there was an attempt at
Well,
the
I've
old
had it
Hamilton
happen.
Custom House. I've had it happen to me.
I've had it
But
happen.
she walked up, onto the stage and to go and look at this gray door, and just got slammed with this energy that tried to take her over. And the other psychics that were there had to gather around and pull this energy off of her.
Stop. I cannot. beam.
What is the energy around me?
The energy is white. The energy is very cold.
Yes.
Soft. Angry.
Yes.
Angry. Get out of my space.
I would like to, but I can't.
You can't. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
I asked for Archangel Michael.
Let her go. Let her go.
I'm good.
Let her go.
He released. He released.
Okay?
Thank you. That was angry.
I
That
know,
was
angry,
vicious.
angry. Okay?
That was vicious.
Inferior, so it's like a lot
Yeah,
of
but that was
passion.
vicious. No, it has to do with that door.
Is that where it is? I thought it was on the vent.
It's here, because I got as far as here, and my foot
I was
got
drawn to
locked.
this when I came in. I almost
That was
felt
here. I
like
can't feel enough, but there's something in here that's nasty. I could feel it.
That's
The
what I'm
door.
saying. It's the door. There's something with this.
Although,
Kathy saw this in vision
doesn't
2
seem to
days
make any
ago.
sense, but
Kathy emailed me because she
I got a
didn't
whole
know
bunch of
she's
people
never
it could be
been here. She
relating
doesn't
to.
know the-
she's having some trouble right now.
I'm gonna clear her in a second. But I said that was vicious.
Nasty.
It was a nasty.
I could see it. It was like right around like this. Heavy
If
white.
I went any closer,
You all right? I didn't hurt you.
no, you're good. No. I know, yeah, I know. There's something not right on that door, on that wall. That is just evil incarnate. It is angry. It is violent.
It was something to witness, I'll
Yeah,
tell
she
you.
wasn't ready for that, clearly. And that's kind of the thing too, right? I mean, when you're going in to do these kinds of things, being a medium myself, I have to prepare myself in a sense to be open, yet not be that open. I've had partial possessions happen to me where I can literally feel, see, and experience what they are would be feeling, seeing, and experiencing. It's a great way to get like all the best information.
Oh, that.
But at the same time, it can be a little bit off-putting for people if they're not prepared for it. 9 times out of 10, there's no reason to really extract anything. It will do its thing and then it will leave. Generally, it's because it knows that you're open to being able to pick up on it. But I suspect that if you're not really capable of controlling that, the best thing is to not let it happen to you at all. Mm-hmm. But interesting. So I just want to sort of set something straight, because I was just thinking about it. I went back to my records, my notes from years ago when I was there about the house and its history. And I just wanted to say, now I have a bit of a conflicting thought on this history, because this was not my history, but this was what was told to me. And I'm a little bit conflicted with a bit of the timeline on this. But again, I'd have to go to the Masons and ask them. But originally, so that property in 1816 was part of a Loyalist allotment given to somebody by the name of James Mills after the War of 1812, so that he could build a family home on it. So there was a home there already, just not the home that there is today. In 1884, it was sold to George Tuckett, and he owned the Tuckett Tobacco Company, which was the largest in Canada, apparently. So when you say that she was choking and coughing and I've actually experienced the coughing and the smelling of smoke in that building so many times that I wonder if it's got something to do with residual energy from Tuckett himself, who was a heavy smoker.
That's
you know,
interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theory. Yeah.
Because, again, if we're able to pick up on those energies, we may be able to pick up on some of the ailments as well. I know I've been able to do that. But what it says is that the property was sold to the Scottish Rites in 1920, and they built the cathedral and the rotunda in 1922. So my understanding is that the cathedral / the theater portion of it was already constructed by the Tuckett family, and that the Scottish Rites built onto that portion. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So that little theater, the theater itself, which is on the second floor, yes, on the second floor, was already constructed, and that the central hallway it is quite wide now and has rooms on the other side, as well as the cathedral part was built by the Scottish Rites. So I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but I did hear, and I remember in previous research, that the theater itself was built by the Tuckett family and not by the Scottish Rites.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Because if you think about it, why in the world would Scottish Rites build a vaudeville theater? Right?
But why would Tuckett?
Tuckett did because his family, they loved theater. And because it was so popular in the, 1915 and around, from the Edwardian period forward, essentially, that all the big stars were coming. And he wanted to be able to book them in his own theater. So there was money to be made. And there was also the fact that he loved that stuff, and so did his family. So I don't see that the Rites built that, because they have absolutely zero reason to me to build a vaudeville stage and to deck it out with beautiful backdrops and scenery if they're only going to use it as an initiation room, because that's what it got used for, right? So it doesn't make sense. There's no need for that theater space in there at all for that purpose, right? So the fact that it still has the wings and it has all of the, the stage propping and the pulleys and all the beautiful scenery, and that predates that time, that it's more like 1910, 1914 than 1922. So I think that additional part of the building was added, but I do believe that I did read prior that the theater was one of Tuckett's doing for the family, as opposed
Interesting.
To Masons, because it makes no sense the Masons are building a stage for vaudeville, right? It really doesn't. So I just wanted to kind of line that up, because it's sort of the it's there now and it's repurposed for their use, but at the time it was not for the purpose of the Masons, right? So I just want to sort of lay that out. So during your investigation and doing all of these things, when you went through with the psychics and that, what else did they pick up? Were you guys allowed on the third floor then, or no?
No.
Okay. Were you allowed in the servant stairwell?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I find there's
we're in there, but no, third floor was told off limits for us.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Thank you for watching The Ghost Show Online. Join your hosts again next week as they discuss more tales of the supernatural, the paranormal, and all things spectacular. See you soon.